Hello everyone, welcome to Acupressure Wednesday. I'm Alexa Halsey from Encircle Acupuncture in Nashville. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to do some acupressure and we're going to feel great afterwards. Today we're going to be talking about breathing and how acupressure can help us to breathe a little more deeply and get more out of our breath. So thanks for joining us. This is going to be a really simple, easy practice that anyone can do at home. So just follow along. If you have questions, type them in the comments. If you have trouble hearing me, let me know. I'm just going to proceed and just assume that everyone can hear me. So we're going to start just with a couple of exercises to really get settled into our bodies. So we'll start just in a comfortable seated position, just feet on the floor, your spine nice and neutral. You can sit with your spine supported if you like, or sit on the edge of your chair, whatever. Just feel your feet on the floor and take some deep breaths. Breathe comfortably. You can close your eyes if you like, or leave them open, whatever you prefer. I'm just going to take a few breaths. And just notice any signals that your body is trying to send you. Maybe you're feeling some muscle tension in some areas. Maybe you're feeling some pain somewhere. Maybe you're feeling hot or cold. See if something feels a little tingly. Just see what your body's trying to tell you. And just notice it, because we'll check in again at the end of our practice to see if anything has changed. So just take a few more breaths. And also just see how your breathing feels. Does it feel easy? Does it feel difficult? Does it feel deep or shallow? Because today we're focusing on breathing. So we'll see if anything about our breathing has changed at the end of this session too. And next we're going to do a gathering exercise to gather in some chi from our environment around us and bring it into our bodies. And then we're going to move that chi during the session. So for the gathering exercise, you can either do that seated or standing. I'm going to stand up and just have both feet on the floor, feet about hip width apart. And if you're standing, you want to have a little bend in your knees. Don't lock your knees. And you're going to take in a deep breath while you raise your arms overhead, palms up. And then as you exhale, you're going to lower your arms, palms down. And then bring your arms to rest, your hands to rest on your lower abdomen. So let's do that a few times. Inhale. As you raise your arms, and then exhale as you lower, palms face down, and then come to rest on your abdomen. While you're doing this, you want to think of gathering in chi from around you and bringing it into your body. So there's lots of fresh chi in our environment circulating around all the time. And so just gather some of that for yourself. There's lots to go around, so take as much as you need. And then we will redirect that chi in our bodies and then send it back out into the world to share with others. All right, now we've gathered some chi. It should feel nice and good. And then we're just going to rub our palms together. So all that chi we just gathered, we want to direct it out to our fingertips because we're going to be using our hands today for some self-care. So you want lots of chi flowing to those fingers and hands. Just rub them together. They should start to feel warm. All right. And then your palms should feel nice and tingly. Maybe they've changed colors. They might, your skin might be a little darker. My skin's a little redder. That's good. That means I got a lot of chi flow out to the hands. All right, so if you're just joining us, it's Acupressure Wednesday. Thanks so much for being here. And today we are talking about the breath. And we're going to do some acupressure to help us breathe more deeply. So breath is so important, and it's one of the things that we have control over in our bodies and in our lives. There's a lot happening in the world around us that is uncertain and that we don't have a lot of control over, but we have control over our breath. So it's a way to just feel more centered, more grounded, more in your own body, and just more empowered to take charge of what's happening with you. So breath is super important. And also, this is a good time of year to work on the breath. It's November, it's the fall. In traditional Chinese medicine, 5-element theory, each of the elements has a corresponding season and lots of other correspondences as well. Fall is the season that corresponds with the metal element, and the lungs are the organ that corresponds with the metal element and with fall. The lungs and the large intestine. We're going to focus on the lungs today. So fall is a time of year when our lungs need a little extra attention. And it's a good time of year to really fortify the lungs and pay some extra attention there, some extra care to really make sure they're functioning optimally. So, of course, you can do acupressure for breathing and for the lungs any time of year, but it's really great to do it in the fall. And today we're going to be working on 2 different meridians in the body. Of course, the lung meridian, since we're working on the lungs. And then we're also going to be working on the kidney meridian. And the kidneys and the lungs have an interesting relationship in traditional Chinese medicine theory. The lungs are said to descend and disperse qi. So we take in qi from our environment when we breathe and when we inhale. And then the lungs descend that qi down through the rest of the organs and the rest of the body, and then they disperse it out to the extremities. So lungs take in qi and circulate qi. Now the role of the kidneys in this is the kidneys are said to reach up and grasp the qi and pull it downward and anchor the qi. And so this ensures that our breathing moves past the superficial stages. And so we're not just breathing up here in the top of our lungs. The kidneys grasp and anchor that qi so that everything we take in through the lungs does get dispersed throughout the body. So the kidneys have to be healthy and strong in order to do that. So we're going to work on both of those meridian systems today. So we're going to start with lung 1, which is a point on the chest. So the lung channel begins interior in the lungs, and then it emerges in the chest. And all of the channels that we're working on today are bilateral. They're on both sides. So don't worry about whether it's your right or left. You can do points on both sides. So the lung channel, the first point on the lung channel is here on the side of the chest, and it's lung 1. So what you're going to do, find your clavicle here and just follow it out with your finger. Run your finger along the bottom edge of your clavicle until it meets this muscle here. So there's going to be a depression right in here. That's lung 2 actually, and lung 1 is just a little bit below that. So here's lung 2 and here's lung 1. I'll show you on the other side. You're going to follow the clavicle underneath the clavicle until you hit this muscle, and there's lung 2, and then just below that is lung 1. So what you can do is press on both points, lung 2 and lung 1, and feel for which one is more tender. Lung 1 and lung 2 have very similar functions. So whichever one is more tender on you is the one that you want to use. So just feel both of those. On me, it's lung 1, but it might be lung 2 on you. That's fine. So what you're going to do here, what I like to do is just kind of press with my thumbs. And while you're doing that, you want to take some breaths. can also rub in circles if you like. On me, it's really tender when I rub it in circles, like super tender. So see how that feels on you. So the lungs, like I said, they take in the chi from our surroundings, and then they descend that throughout the rest of the body, and they disperse it throughout the rest of the body. The lungs are really the most exterior or external of all of the organ systems in traditional Chinese medicine because they have direct contact with the outside world. They are always exchanging chi with the outside world. They're breathing in fresh new chi and exhaling chi that we're not using anymore. So they're in this constant sort of conversation with the outside world. And so the lungs are very vulnerable to invasion by pathogens, especially in this time of year in autumn. So it's important to take care of them. So this point, lung 1, helps to clear excess pathogens from the lungs. So in pathogens, we mean in traditional Chinese medicine, we use terms like heat and cold and dampness. And those are just bugs from our environment. Viruses, bacteria, mold. Those are pathogens that invade the lungs. So stimulating this point helps to expel those pathogens from the lungs, and it helps to strengthen the lungs and fortify the lungs so that they can do their job properly. It helps to disseminate lung chi and move chi throughout the chest. Okay, so that's lung 1. And we're going to do some other points on the chest now, and these are points on the kidney channel. So the kidney channel begins on the bottom of the foot and it runs up the leg, through the abdomen, and up into the chest. And there are several points on the chest that are on the kidney channel. And in fact, there are plenty of points on other channels too. The chest and the abdomen are full of points from multiple channels. So we're just going to focus on the kidney channel today. And the points on the kidney channel on the chest are located in the intercostal spaces. So these are the spaces between your ribs. So just feel around on your chest and find your ribs. So here's a rib right here. And then there's a space above it and below it between the next rib. Okay, so those are your intercostal spaces. And so the kidney channel, here's the midline of your chest, and the kidney channel is just about a couple of inches outside of that midline. And again, it's on both sides. I probably shouldn't have worn this necklace today. Sorry. There we go. So here's the midline, and we're going to go about a couple of inches out on each side. This is about where the kidney channel is. And we're just going to press in these intercostal spaces. And again, we're going to find some tender spots. Your chest is probably, the skin on your chest is probably going to start to change colors as you're pressing. It might become darker. It might turn red. That's normal. So feel for some spots that are tender. And then when you find a tender spot or spots, spend some time there. Rub in circles while you're breathing. One thing I like to do is just take my 4 fingers, and then they can kind of easily fit into those intercostal spaces. So you can stimulate several points at once with your fingers. Or you can just do one at a time. It's totally up to you, whatever feels good. And so these are all points along the kidney channel, kidney 22 through 27, all throughout here. So all of these points have the action to descend what we call rebellious chi. So chi is supposed to flow in a specific way in the body. The lung chi is supposed to flow downward. And when it is rebellious, it flows in the wrong direction and it flows up. And rebellious chi results in symptoms like coughing and wheezing and shortness of breath. So these kidney points here, these are sometimes called the kidney shoe points. These kidney shoe points help to descend that rebellious chi from the lungs, and it helps relieve coughing and wheezing and shortness of breath. So when the kidney chi is too weak to grasp and anchor the lung chi, it results in what's called fullness above and deficiency below. So there's too much up in your chest and not enough chi being anchored. So these points help to anchor that by descending that rebellious chi. These are also great points for any sort of emotional symptoms or issues that are affecting the breathing and affecting the lungs. So just like each of the organs and elements has a corresponding season of the year, they also have a corresponding emotion. And the emotion of the lungs is grief. So if there is some kind of grief associated with difficulty breathing, as it often is, then these points can help to relieve that emotional tension and that emotional imbalance. And really these points are good for any sort of emotional issue that is affecting the breathing. So a lot of times when our emotions feel out of balance, whether we're feeling scared or we're grieving or angry, a lot of times we hold our breath and we hold those emotions up here in the upper chest, and that's not a healthy place to keep our emotions. So these points help to anchor the chi so that those emotions can flow more freely and we can really fully process those emotions. So those are the kidney shu points on the chest. It's kidney 22 through 27. Nice and tender on a lot of people. Okay, so next we're going to do a point on the lung channel farther down on the wrist. So lung 7 is located here on the wrist. So the way that you find lung 7, just have your palm facing your chest, and there's up here on the top, there's this wrist bone here, and lung 7 is just proximal to that, so it's closer to the elbow than to the hand. So find this bone here, and then just go a little bit proximal, and then there's a sort of a softer area on the skin where the two tendons come together. A super simple way of locating lung 7 is just to join your two hands together right here between your thumb and your forefinger, and then take your forefinger and lay it across the top of your wrist, and right where your forefinger ends is going to be lung 7. So there it is on that side. I'm going to show you on the other. Just join your hands together here. Your forefinger is going to end right here at lung 7. Lung 7, the Chinese name of lung 7 means broken sequence, because the lung channel really goes, starts in the chest, goes down the arm, and then flows in this part of the arm. But lung 7 is a little bit off the channel, because the lung channel goes here, and lung 7 is a little bit more towards the large intestine channel. So we call it broken sequence because it's off the sequence of the channel. So just press on this spot, rub it in some circles. It might be tender on you. This point is not particularly tender on me. That's okay if it's not tender on you. You don't have to spend as much time there on a point that's not tender, but I like to rub that one in circles. Lung 7 helps to descend the lung chi. So a lot of these points are all about getting your breathing out of the upper chest and getting it more into the lower lungs and into the diaphragm and the abdomen. So it's a lot about descending. So this point, lung 7, helps to descend the chi. It's also what we call a confluent point of one of the 8 extraordinary meridians, the Ren meridian. So lung 7 helps to activate the Ren meridian. And the Ren channel, it flows up the front midline of your body through the abdomen and the chest. And so this point, when it helps to open up the Ren meridian, it's going to help to move chi through the chest. So lung 7 right here. All right, next point is going to be on the kidney channel. And this is a point farther down on the kidney channel. So like I said, the kidney channel begins on the bottom of the feet and flows up through the chest. So we're going to do kidney 3, which is located on the ankle. So let me just move my camera a little bit. Okay, so the kidney channel is on the medial side of the ankle and the leg. Let's see if that helps. So kidney 3 is located, here's your malleolus, your ankle bone. So it's going to be between here and the Achilles tendon. And just right there between the malleolus and the Achilles tendon. And that spot is very tender on me. It's always tender on me. And these points, like I said, they're bilateral. So spend some time on both sides. I just like to rub this in circles. This is one of my favorite points for doing acupressure on myself. I'm going to switch to the other side. So kidney 3 is a really important point because it is one of the points that most strongly tonifies the kidneys. And the kidneys are really the root of everything else in the body. They are the root of yin and yang in the body. They're the root of our constitutional strength. It is said that the essence is stored in the kidneys, and our essence is what we are born with. It's what we come into the world with. It's sort of our genetic material that we inherit from our ancestors. That's all stored in the kidneys. So the kidneys are super important. And we want to preserve the essence of our bodies, and we do that by keeping our kidneys strong. And this point, kidney 3, strongly tonifies the kidneys and every aspect of the kidneys. Yin, yang, chi, blood, it does everything. So this is a great point for any type of tonification. And in this case, since we're working on breathing, this point really helps to strengthen the kidney function of grasping and anchoring the chi. So again, the lungs descend and disperse. The kidneys reach up and grasp the chi and anchor it. And that way, chi can be disseminated throughout the body. Super important point, kidney 3. And then another point, another option for you, if you're really feeling ungrounded, if you're feeling like you're just breathing up here in your chest and it's not getting any further, if you really want to get some descending kidney action going, you can do kidney 1, which is located on the sole of the foot. So let me show you a picture so that I don't have to hold my foot up to the camera. Kidney 1 is located on the sole of the foot. And here's the ball of your foot here, that fleshy pad on your foot. So kidney 1 is right here, located in the depression that is just a little bit closer to the heel. So it's not quite in the very center of your foot. It's a little more towards your toes than the dead center of your foot. It's center on the midline, but a little bit towards your toes. So just find this fleshy ball of your foot and then find the depression that's just behind it, and you've found kidney 1. This is also one of my favorite points to do acupressure on myself. You can rub it in circles. You can get a little ball and roll it around on the floor. You can rub your feet together, which is what I do when I go to sleep at night to just help to descend that kidney energy. So this is another good point for helping the kidneys with their function of grasping and anchoring the chi. It's also great to sit with your feet, or stand with your feet planted firmly on the floor or the ground if you're outside, and really imagine roots growing down through this point, kidney 1, and down into the earth. Helps you feel more in touch with the earth and more anchored and more grounded. Do that while you can imagine those roots going down while you are working on some of these other points and working on your breathing. So a simple way to do that would just be to sit comfortably and visualize those roots growing down through kidney 1. And remember, roots on a tree or on a plant, they help to stabilize and anchor the plant. They also help to bring nourishment up through the ground. So imagine those roots growing down through kidney 1 while you're working on some of these other points. So maybe some of the points on the chest that we talked about. So just to review that, there was lung 1 here on the side of the chest. And then we have the kidney shoe points here in the intercostal spaces on the chest, about 2 inches lateral. So you can do some work stimulating these points and breathing while you're imagining those roots growing down through kidney 1 to provide even more stability and anchoring and help the kidneys grasp and anchor the chi. So those are the points on the chest. We also did lung 7 here on the wrist. And remember, you find that one just by joining your 2 hands together, and then your index finger hits that point very easily. And then we also, farther down on the kidney channel, we did kidney 3 here between the malleolus on the medial side of the leg, between the malleolus and the Achilles tendon. I can never spend enough time massaging kidney 3. As I said, it's one of my favorite points for acupressure. And then kidney 1 on the bottom of the foot. So now that we have spent some time on these points, let's check back in with our bodies and see how we're feeling. So just sit comfortably, feet on the floor, and take some deep breaths. Spine nice and comfortable, and see how you're feeling. See if anything has changed. I'm slipping off of my chair, sorry. Does anything feel different from when we started? I just feel more movement in my chest in general. My whole chest feels a little warm and tingly because we spent a lot of time there today. Feels like energy is just moving throughout there. It feels like a nice warm hum. It feels really good. All right, well, I hope that you enjoyed today's session. Thank you so much for joining Acupressure Wednesday. If you have a topic that you would like to see us cover, please let us know in the comments. We appreciate everyone being here today, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.